Another area of e-commerce is really the enablement model. So it's companies that don't necessarily, obviously conduct an e-commerce transaction, but they're the companies that have supplied the infrastructure. So if you think of the gold rush from the 1849 gold rush in California, very, very few miners that went out there to actually make gold made the millions, if not billions, over time. The people that really profited out there were the guys who sold the picks and the shovels, the dungarees like Levi Strauss, the blue jeans that miners wore, the hotel, the food suppliers, things like that. So if you think about that model for e-commerce infrastructure and the companies that have profited the most, it's the guys who've sold the hardware that have driven the e-commerce businesses, the guys that have sold the software platforms like Interworld e-commerce or ETG from Oracle or Broadvision or OpenMarket, the networking systems, Cisco networking systems, the security systems, the firewalls, the secure payment systems, the media solutions, the rich media that help display the products. I think a lot of these different players, on the media side, web performance software such as Gomez, site design, GSI Commerce, CRM systems, PeopleSoft, Siebel, Salesforce.com, the database companies like Oracle, hosting service companies, cloud-based services, traditional hosting, Rackspace, Google, even Amazon with the AWS services. So those companies providing infrastructure that allow e-commerce, B2C and B2B businesses, marketplaces, e-distributorships to actually exist and conduct business are quite profitable in the enablement model. So that's another business-to-business e-commerce model. Other areas, when you think about e-commerce business models and the disruption it causes in traditional economics and commerce, the internet and the web really have helped turn the tables on rivalry against existing competition. Upstarts have come from nowhere to build out virtual businesses. Amazon first decimating the bookstore market, and now proliferating to competing against Walmart at the highest level, even without a store. There are reduced barriers to entry and threat of substitute products, strength of suppliers, and bargaining power of buyers. These all come together in this disruptive nature. So just some examples, substitute products, streaming video replacing DVDs, cloud replacing downloads, so streaming music from the cloud as opposed to having to download to your player, online reservation systems for airlines, in particular, replacing agents, the bargaining power, increased power of retail customers, and decreased power of wholesalers. So if you look at, while the airlines industry has put together consortiums like Orbitz to help battle against the Pricelines of the world, the hotel market is struggling with all these bargain rate virtual hotel reservation, hotel.com businesses. So putting bargains in the hands of buyers. Bargaining powers of suppliers, as I mentioned in the airline systems, Orbitz putting together where the airlines, the top airlines banded together and built out their own online reservation consortium to compete against the Pricelines of the world. Barriers to entry, huge reduction of barriers to entry in the music business and in the content media business. I like to say that every business and individual in the world is now has the potential and can be a media outlet. Um, and that holds true with music. Any individual or small startup label can just begin recording with just their laptop, as you well know, and begin distributing and loading it onto iTunes. So that's very disruptive change, and that's both business to business and business to consumer. Value chains are an important concept to understand. The flow of information, goods, transactions, and products and raw materials to build final products and services. I kind of touched on that a little bit with the indirect goods and the MRO, maintenance, repair, and operations goods in the earlier discussion of e-distributors. The internet reduces the cost of information flow and other transactional costs and leads to greater efficiencies. Again, with greater efficiencies, lowering cost prices, adding value to customers, and that's both end-to-end consumer customers as well as business customers. So let's explore the value chains a little bit further. When you look at an ecosystem or flow of information across an industry value chain, you typically have these components: suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, retailers, and customers, as well as the transportation mechanism. So the suppliers on the far left provide raw materials to manufacturers. As we move towards the right, that is helped managed by supply chain management systems. Again, direct and indirect goods that go into manufacturers from suppliers to build products and produce. Once the products are produced, they can be sold directly by the manufacturers, which is that transportation loop on the bottom, and could be sold over the web and trucked and shipped direct by manufacturers. But a more traditional route, even in the e-business side, is using distributors and retailers to get the products to the end customers on the far right. So distributors managing inventory, taking inventory from manufacturers are in the middle, and they typically sell to retailers. So manufacturers sell to distributors or wholesalers who farm out products to retailers who are the customer-facing. So they have, in addition to their own localized inventory systems, they have customer response systems that deal directly with the consumer, and the consumer ends up purchasing. So value chains, the definition really is about the activities the firm is involved to create these final products from the raw inputs, so the raw materials. So anything from steel and rubber to build a car and tires, through all the sub-assemblies that are built in between that are then assembled at a manufacturer or a sub-manufacturer. An interesting example is the tire industry, one of the largest tire distributors in the nation with 70,000 dealers. So if I go back here, they would be in this distribution area. There are master distributors called American Tire Distributors. They supply local distributor retailers, dealers, with tires. Now, one of the things that they do is they have a license from the top tire manufacturers not to take finished good tires, but to actually create tires and build tires based on the specifications from Firestone, Bridgestone, etc. So a very interesting model in a traditional sense. So the firm value change, again, each step adds value as you move across these chains, enabling efficient operations. And with that, the manufacturer, distributor, retailer can differentiate its product based on the value it creates, the lower pricing. But all of these have to be coordinated. And again, a firm value chain then is beneficial from the standpoint of having precision and coordinating the chain and the steps and the processes and the systems that are involved in making that efficient. So if we look at e-commerce and firm value chains, you have traditional administrative tasks that need to be done, human resources, information system, procurement, accounting, reporting, that all have to happen along the lines of each step of the way here. So a chief operating officer, a general manager. When I ran Buy Buy Baby for the e-commerce business, within my organization, I had information systems, I had buyers or procurement people helping source product, and I worked very closely with my human resources and my financial accounting people to track the costs and the revenues. So costs on the left all the way through the chain, and then the revenues through the sales on the far right. And all of that was managed within the e-commerce GM role that I had, GM being general manager. So again, you have the primary activities of the value chain: inbound logistics, getting the goods in, the operations to either build the product, or in the case of retailers, store it on the shelves, or have it in the warehouse so your virtual e-commerce business can then, through your distribution center, can then ship that based on orders coming in. The orders, once they're placed and the purchases are made, the outbound logistics, so the delivery, the UPS, the FedEx, the direct home delivery, or business-to-business delivery. Then there's the sales and marketing, costs and components. So in the e-commerce business, it's the display, the catalog, it's the marketing, it's the search engine marketing, the search engine optimization, email marketing, and all of that we'll go into in later lessons. And then there's the after-sales service, so the customer service, telephone operations. And what is that about? Learning about new products, finding missing orders, changing orders, all of the things that go on with customer sales, after-sales service. Firm value web. So network businesses, with these ecosystems that we've been describing, with these various functions of business partners working together, again, driven by internet technology to coordinate these chains. So these chains, just pop back here, have been there before the internet. We're now using internet technologies to drive even more value in coordination and information sharing and operational execution with business partners. So from the web side, coordinating suppliers to get the firm's own production needs using internet-based systems such as supply chain management systems. So if we look at this, this is a good example of the different types and touch points that a company would use as an e-commerce company to manage its delivery, its e-business side, to generate e-B2C e-commerce on the right. So let's take it from the left side. The direct suppliers. Let's take Buy Buy Baby as an example. Buy Buy Baby is a number 2 retailer of everything that you need to have a baby, from furniture to clothing to toys to health care goods, on and on and on, furniture, etc. So the firm in the middle, within the baby industry, baby retail, Buy Buy Baby would take procurement and supply from its suppliers on the left, and then build it into its catalog to sell online. So it would have alliances up at the top with companies that were not only suppliers of goods, so the high chair, the nursery furniture, the car seats from the suppliers, but it was also have alliances with infrastructure providers, hardware providers. So the hardware providers in our data center at Buy Buy Baby, the e-commerce platform that was run by Market Live out in California in a cloud model, the inventory and merchandising system, again run on a cloud model through KWI. Then there was the indirect suppliers that we would purchase, again, janitorial goods, furniture and chairs for our employees at Bye Bye Baby to actually run the e-commerce business. And then there's the CMR, Customer Relationship Management, call center, after sales, pre-sales, during sales, assistance to customers looking to purchase orders. So you might buy something on the internet through e-commerce, but then your order doesn't show up on time. You call the call center, and we walk through that aspect. So all of these dynamics are happening, and the majority of them are happening on internet-enabled systems. So on the direct supplier side, information about the shipping notices of the car seats that are arriving in our distribution center and our warehouse are handled over the internet. The indirect supply for furniture coming in from our furniture supplier is handled through internet-based transactions to our administrative aspects of Bye Bye Baby e-commerce corporate. The strategic alliances are handled over the internet for our e-commerce platform and our inventory and merchandising management platform. And then our CRM and call center is handled over the internet. So again, an internet-enabled value web described in a B2B2C retail example with Bye Bye Baby. Okay, so for the business strategy, and as you're putting together your web business project, think about both business to consumer and business to business aspects. Even if your business proposal is about a B2C or business to consumer e-commerce business, there will be e-business or B2B aspects of it. And figure out and be able to describe how your business will make money, where you'll sell, but also how you'll get a return on the capital investment. You'll have to understand what kind of money will be involved to actually build this out, and then look at different types of strategies which will help you differentiate yourself, help you compete on cost or scope, breadth of offering, or focus, either narrow or broad.